Have you ever seen a god fall? The woman at the bar asks, taking a sip of her scotch. She has long dark brown hair and is wearing a dark trench coat. The bar had 3 patrons in it, none of which were near her, so she mostly spoke to herself and the bartender. A gruff older man who has heard many similar rants, but this one caught his attention. I don't mean in the pretentious sense, like seeing a religious figure get dethroned or the destruction of some decrepit temple. No, I mean watched a god fall from the sky. She takes another sip of her scotch. At this point, the bartender shakes his head and begins to walk away. The woman scoffs as she swirls the ice cube around. No, I guess you haven't. Her phone rings. She goes into her pocket and answers. We found it, a man's voice says over the phone. She hangs up and smiles. They found it. She leaves some money on the bar and gets down from her stool, making her way to the door and eventually leaving. She found it. She orders a ride and is picked up in the next 5 minutes. She gets into the car and is taken to her next location. The car stops in front of a closed aquarium. She gets out of the car and watches as it drives away before making her way toward the aquarium doors. Water Wonder, a dream of hers ever since she was young, now made a reality. She pulls out a set of keys and searches through them before she finds the one she needs and opens the aquarium doors. She walks inside, seeing the entryway which had tubes of jellyfish just before the ticket office. She smiles at the tubes before taking a right and walking toward a set of double doors with the words "Staff Only" printed on them. She searches through the keys again until she finds the set she needs and opens the doors. She walks through the doors to see a plain gray hallway that leads to the left. She walks down the hall for 10 minutes before she is met with another set of double doors. She opens these doors and finds herself in the Animal Rehabilitation Center. Here, she passes tanks with turtles that are getting their shells repaired, endangered species going through breeding programs, and egg nurseries. She smiles at her hard work before she takes another right at the octopus enclosure and walks towards an elevator door. She presses down on the elevator and the doors open. She steps into the elevator, then turns to the button panel, going through her keys once more before she finds the one she needs. She inserts the key into a slot at the bottom of the button panel, twists it right before pressing the buttons for floors 1, 2, and then basement. The doors shut, and the elevator begins to go down. The digital reader shows 1, then B, then lab. The elevator doors open and the woman finds herself in a well-lit, sterile laboratory. She steps out and walks into the lab, where there were specimens of aquatic creatures in tanks, tables with petri dishes and desks with computers. She looks over to one of the aquatic creatures, an eel-like fish with a bioluminescent bulb protruding from its head, its eyes glowing with the same light as it watches her walk past. She continues further into the lab, reaching another set of doors with a small camera lens on the right side of it, the last to reach her goal. She leans forward to the biometric visual scanner. Lasers pass over her right eye and a loud buzz is emitted from the machine before the sound of locks unlatching follows. She stands up and opens the door, where 2 men stand in front of a table that has a small fish tank on it. One of the men turns, a tall, thin man with short black hair and glasses. "Dr. Cyrus," he says formally. Cyrus smiles at him. "Dr. Conrad." She greets him as she walks forward. She looks over at the other man, Dr. Johns, then looks at the fish tank. "It's remarkable, isn't it?" she says with a smile. John stares at the creature inside, a clear jelly-like mass with a bulbous red eye. It crawls around the tank like a worm, feeling the glass edges before crawling to the other side. I wasn't even sure it was real," John stutters. Cyrus chuckles. "I don't blame you. Even as a little girl, seeing it for the first time, I wasn't entirely sure. Now though..." She kneels down so that she is at eye level with the small creature. "Now we know you're actually here, little god?" Wasteful Wonderland. Act 1, Part 1.